Great. Good evening, everybody. Let me go ahead and call this meeting
Recording
to
in
order.
Progress.
Let me call this meeting to order. We're going to be going into closed session, but let me go ahead and just start with some opening remarks. The meeting is taking place with in-person attendance and by teleconference via Zoom, and the public can access the meeting via the Santa Ana YouTube channel or the city's website, so please bear with us as technology may interrupt the flow of the meeting. Let me go ahead and turn it over to the clerk so she can call roll.
Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Lopez. Councilmember Mendoza.
Present.
Councilmember Peñalosa.
Present.
Councilmember Fan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Becerra. And Mayor Sarmiento.
Here. Great. So we have a quorum. I'm going to go ahead and ask the council if there's any items they wish to abstain on the closed session agenda. Seeing none, do we have any speakers that wish to address us for the closed session items, Madam Clerk?
No, Mayor, we do not, and we also did not receive any written communication.
Great. Why don't we go ahead and recess into closed session? We'll come back out and open. Thank you.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Good evening, everybody. Let me go ahead and call the regular session of the City Council meeting for June 7th, 2022 to order, and we're going to be reconvening in open session. Let me go ahead and begin with a few housekeeping remarks. So this meeting is taking place with in-person attendance and by teleconference via Zoom. The public can access the meeting via the Santa Ana YouTube channel or the city's website. And as always, please bear with us as the technology may interrupt the flow of the meeting. I'm going to ask the clerk to go ahead and call roll, please.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Present.
Thank you. Councilmember Lopez. Councilmember Mendoza. Councilmember Peñalosa.
Present.
Councilmember Fan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Becerra.
Here.
And Mayor Sarmiento.
Here. Before we go to the Pledge of Allegiance, let me go ahead and have the clerk go ahead and make her opening remarks.
Thank you, Mayor. To request to speak on any agenda or non-agenda items within the city's jurisdiction, with the exception of public hearing items 15 and 16, please dial star 9 from your phone or select the button labeled Raise Hand from Zoom at this time. Please hold your comments until the mayor opens public hearing items 15 and 16, respectively. Please announce your name and ward or neighborhood you reside in within the city of Santa Ana for the record. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Let me go ahead and ask Councilmember Peñalosa to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then if you'll all please remain standing, we're going to have words of inspiration from our police chaplain, Rupert Vega.
All right, if you could all please join me and rise and face our flag. Put your right hand over your heart and follow along. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could please bow your heads. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you today, giving you honor, glory, and praise. Lord, you are the source of all that is good, and we are grateful for all the blessings you've bestowed upon us. We thank you for our wonderful city of Santa Ana, our honorable mayor, city council, chief of police, courageous first responders, and city staff. Lord, we thank you for our freedom and the opportunity to unite and gather together this day. We ask for your hand of blessings to be upon us tonight's meeting and proceedings. We thank you for your grace, your unending love and wisdom. And we ask that you would guide and direct tonight's meeting, and that it be of sound wisdom, that it be productive with integrity, accountability, and with respect towards one another. Thank you, Lord, for helping us to accomplish our work and our goals this day. City of Santa Ana, I leave you with the scripture found in the book of Numbers. And it says, may the Lord bless you and keep you and protect you. May he sustain you and guard you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you with his favor and be gracious to you, surrounding you with his love and kindness. May the Lord lift up his face and countenance upon you with divine approval and give you peace and a tranquil heart in life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you for those words of inspiration. Let me go ahead and go to the ceremonial presentations, and let me begin with Mayor Pro Tem Becerra, who's going to be doing a presentation to the Santa Ana softball team. The first one that I was going to be doing, I went ahead and removed it so we could expedite the meeting, so you're all set.
If I could have the Santa Ana College softball team and coaches come up. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause, please. Well, tonight, this is one of the fun presentations because this is a chance for us as a city to, I'd say, do a little bit of gloating, if you will. So tonight, it's my honor to recognize the players and coaches of the Santa Ana College Dons softball team. Now, this team had one heck of a year. They had an impressive overall record of 38-9. They took the Orange Empire Conference Tournament Championship title for the first time since 2001. They became regional champs by beating Antelope Valley College. They became the super regional champs by defeating Long Beach City College, which then earned them a trip to the state championships, where they had one come from behind win against Butte, which, by the way, when they beat them, they snapped Butte's 36-game winning streak, okay? Now, this remarkable team is led by head coach Marissa Ross and assistant coaches Elisa Iglesias, Elisa Gutierrez, Alexis Carmona, and Josh Vargas, which, by the way, that coaching staff recognized as the 2002 NFCA Cal JC Southern Region Coaching Staff of the Year. So these coaches were blessed not only with what they did, but the talented players that they had. So you had the 2022 NFCA California JC Pitcher of the Year, Emily Rosas. Where's Emily? There's Emily right there. We had JoJo Westerfield. Where's JoJo? JoJo, who led the team in hits. We had Vinny Robles, who had the highest batting average on the team. Where's Vinny? Ooh. That's what happens with that batting average, right? You got Sarah Casey. Where's Sarah? Another one. She led the team in home runs, so good for her. She's getting some rest. And along with them, we've got Sonia Canal, Sarah Colazo, Alexis Marquez, Amanda Mendoza, Brianna Padilla, Jaylina Perez, Arlene Ramirez, Iari Ramirez, Alexis Rangel, Alana Rangsubitson. Was I even close? Okay. I knew I was going to. And then Nia Viles and Alexis Vargas. So, including, along with these coaches and players, this couldn't have been possible without Rancho Santiago District Board President, Dr. Tina Miller. And in the audience tonight, I see a couple of her colleagues, John Hanna, and how you doing up there, Zeke? SAC President Annabelle Neary, Dean of Kinesiology, Denise Bailey, SAC Athletic Director, Mary Hegarty, and Sports Information Coordinator, Cami Lewis. So I could confidently say that this council and our city are extremely proud of the accomplishments of these fine young women and the entire team. So we're looking forward, guys, to an amazing 2023 season. No pressure, okay? No pressure. So on behalf of the city of Santa Ana and the city council, I want to go ahead and present you some certificates of recognition for all of your accomplishments this year. So if you guys could please give them a round of applause. Wild guess, Sonia. Sonia, and then set series. There you go, that was easy. Alexis Marquez. There we go. All right, I hope you guys want to, how much more we can crunch in your life.
Good stuff, and a shout out to all the trustees from Rancho Santiago Community College out there. Thank you all for attending. Let me go ahead and ask Councilmember Lopez if she'll go ahead and do her presentation. I believe she's going to be recognizing one of the businesses here in the downtown. So whoever's here from Lucy's Pizza, why don't you go ahead and come on up?
Hi, everyone. So today I want to recognize Lucy's Pizza for their outstanding contributions to the business community here in the city of Santa Ana. And joining us today to accept this recognition is Dan, and who is one of Lucy's Pizza's owners, and his friend Edgar as well. And so Lucy's Pizza was born from the love of traveling to New York and wanting to bring a little taste of New York back to Santa Ana, where Daniel, Miguel, and Edgar were all born and raised. And in 2020, the three of them started to conceptualize what their vision would look like, what it would entail, and what a neighborhood pizzeria would look like. And so, and part of those conversations was where they wanted their business to be located. And they ended up selecting downtown Santa Ana to essentially, have their vision come to life. And they worked on Lucy's Pizza in secrecy, and I think, during the pandemic in 2020, there was a lot of hesitation perhaps because a lot of the businesses weren't doing so well. Some of them were closed, a lot of businesses were shutting down, and there was really uncertainty within the business community of what their future was gonna look like. But they, persisted through that, and they didn't let that discourage them, and they remained positive and focused and getting their doors open. And so finally, in the beginning of 2021, Lucy's Pizza opened for business in the heart of Orange County in downtown Santa Ana. And in the short time that Lucy's Pizza has been opened, the reception from the community has been really positively overwhelming. And they really have been welcomed with open arms. And even the surrounding businesses have offered friendships and advice. And people from all parts of the city, people from Ward 3 really love Lucy's Pizza. It's delicious. I've been there. I encourage everyone to go visit, especially after a long night in downtown. But please feel free to come up here and share what that journey has been like, and invite the community to come and support Lucy's Pizza. Yeah, of course.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. As Santa Ana natives, born and raised, this is a real honor for us to have our business recognized in the short period of time that we've been open. We've been received with open arms from the community. I just want to thank Councilwoman Jessie Lopez for recognizing our business, and for having us up here. Sorry, I'm cursing a few words. Yeah, a little nervous, but thank you so much. And we really, really encourage you guys to come down, swing by, have a slice. You don't have to order a whole pizza. We sell by the slice. So we'd love to have you guys. Thank you so much to everybody, and especially the people of Santa Ana. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Councilmember, why don't you go ahead and stay there, because we're going to do the next presentation together. Best tasting pizza, by the way, good New York style pizza. If the moms demand action, if they can join us up here as I make my way down, please, thank you. So tonight I have the distinct honor to welcome Moms Demand Action, declaring June 3rd as a National Gun Violence Awareness Day. This is actually something that was co-sponsored by myself, Councilwoman Lopez, and primarily Councilmember Mendoza, who's not here with us presently, but she wanted us to go forward. So thank you, moms, for joining us, and you'll see the T-shirt there that shows that we are here together to stand together to end gun violence. So let me read just a little bit about what we're trying to declare today and this month. So the proclamation declares that the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Gun violence is a national public epidemic that exacts a substantial toll on the U.S. society. Take out my glasses. Gun violence includes homicide, violent crime, attempted suicide, and unintentional death and injury. Moms Demand Action is a grassroots movement of Americans fighting for public safety measures that can protect people from gun violence. Moms Demand Action was founded by Shannon Watts, a mom of 5. The day after the Sandy Hook tragedy, Shannon started a Facebook group with the message that all Americans can and should do more to reduce gun violence. Moms Demand Action has established a volunteer chapter in every state of the country and Washington, D.C., and is part of Every Town for Gun Safety, the largest gun violence prevention organization in the country with more than 8 million supporters. With their contributions to the community and commitment to educating us all on gun violence, the City of Santa Ana proclaims June 3rd, 2022 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day and presents this proclamation to Moms Demand Action for their work, promoting efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence, to honor and value human lives. We want to, bring attention to this item, but it's more of for me, a really difficult item to talk about because I've had to sign more condolence letters in the past few weeks than I wish to think about. I wrote a letter to the mayor of Buffalo, New York, for the mass shooting that occurred there in the grocery store, where many lives were lost as a result of some, racial hatred. Some real harm inflicted on the African-American community there. And then I had to write a letter just a week later to the mayor of Laguna Woods for the shooting that took place there, where they killed a doctor, a local doctor who was trying to prevent some of his fellow congregation members from being injured. And then finally, the one that pained me the most was to the mayor of Uvalde, Texas, where 19 lives, children and students, were lost in addition to 2 teachers. So this is very, very unfortunate because it is tragic. I no longer use the words, thoughts and prayers. I just, say we stand with you in solidarity to change, what not only our past and our present is, but I hope we can change the future. And I stand with mothers here that have gone out of their way to try to do that. So I am very proud to stand with them, and I know that Councilmember Mendoza as well. But I think that there's 75% of the polling shows that folks in our country are supportive of change to improve gun control and strengthen gun control laws. Basic things that are reasonable and rational, like doing background checks, like not having an 18-year-old walk in and buy an assault rifle, and removing assault rifles altogether. Those aren't weapons of leisure. Those are weapons to harm. And so, in my opinion, these are things that we should have gotten done a long time ago. It's way past its time. So I know that the people of Santa Ana stand with you as well. Thank you for being such loud and vocal voices in this space. But let me turn it over to Councilmember Lopez if she has some additional words.
Thank you, Mayor Sarmiento. And I'm just going to be reading the names of the folks that are present here today. You have Patricia Bowe, who's a local leader with Orange County Moms Demand Action. We have Gisela Tanner, Catherine Martin, Ann Haley, Jennifer Birch, Dan Shaliv, Sun Chambers, Kathy Hall. And what we all know now is that the leading cause of death for children is gun violence. And that's really something that I personally cannot accept. that I don't think our community is willing to accept and stay silent on. And I really want to take this time to encourage everyone to reach out to your state assembly members, to your congressional members, to every representative that you have at every level of government, to ensure that everything is being done, because I do believe that we can have a future free of gun violence, that our communities can be free of gun violence, that children can go to schools without the fear of being killed with their teachers. And that is the ask that I think a lot of the moms here have of our community. So thank you.
Yes, so before I give this proclamation to Moms Demand Action for National Gun Violence Awareness Day, let me go ahead and turn the mic over to Patricia. But one of the things I wanted to do, Madam City Manager, is just give direction here. We've done gun buyback programs in the past, and I know the governor has set aside $25 million for communities that will do that. That should be the very least that we should do. So if we could encourage you to do another one very soon, that would be great. Patricia.
Thank you so much, Mayor Sarmiento, Councilmember Lopez. Good evening. My name is Patricia Bowe, and I'm a volunteer leader with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America here in Orange County. We are America's largest grassroots organization working to end gun violence with more than 8 million supporters nationwide. This past weekend was Wear Orange Weekend, which also coincides with National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Wear Orange is dedicated to honoring the lives of people in the United States affected by gun violence and elevating the voices of those demanding an end to gun violence. I'd like to take this moment to thank the entire Santa Ana City Council for declaring a Gun Violence Awareness Day. These types of proclamations are just so important because they help to raise awareness about America's gun violence epidemic. I'd also like to thank the council for arranging to light up the Santa Ana Water Tower orange this past weekend, which is another way that we can raise awareness. And with more awareness, we hope comes more action. Orange, the color of gun safety, symbolizes the value of each person's life, and we wear it to honor those killed or wounded by gun violence. Over 110 people are shot and killed in America every single day, and twice that many are shot and wounded in America every single day. And we wear orange to call for an end to America's gun violence crisis. Gun violence increased when the COVID-19 pandemic struck, and those impacts continue to devastate our communities. 2021 was one of the deadliest years on record for the United States, with over 20,000 people killed in gun homicides or non-suicide related shootings, a 6% increase over the year before. Gun violence is also the leading cause of death for children and teens in America. The leading cause of death, not car accidents, not childhood diseases, gun violence. But as incidences of gun violence have grown, so too has the movement to stop it. We continue to educate, raise awareness, organize, advocate, and rally for safer communities. Together, we can build a future free from gun violence. So again, thank you so much to the City of Santa Ana for helping us to raise awareness about this epidemic. Together, we will remember the millions of lives taken or forever changed by gun violence, and we demand action in their honor. Thank you.
So let me go ahead and bestow this proclamation on behalf of all the residents and the City Council to you, recognizing June 3rd as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Thank you for everything that you do. We stand with you. Thank you for that. Let me go ahead and bring it back to the City Council and ask the City Attorney if there's anything to report at a closed session.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, we did have closed session items this evening, but we do not have any reportable action.
Thank you. Now, let me go ahead and move along to the public comment section of the meeting, and this is a time and place for members of the public to address the City Council on agendized and non-agendized items. And pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council may not enter into discussion at this point. We will hear from members of the public that are physically present and members of the public that wish to reach us virtually or by conference call. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody on conference call or Zoom?
Yes, we do, Mayor.
Great. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and take public comment for those that are here present. And I should tell you, this is election night, not only here in the city, but it's election night throughout the state. So we want to make sure that we try to be as brief as possible. We know that voting is taking place and the polls are open till 8 p.m. So I will be trying to wrap up the meeting before then. I will take the discretion of the chair to go ahead and do that. So I'll go ahead and I think we don't have many speakers publicly, and I'm not sure how many we have online, but we'll get through this and let's move it along as quickly as we can. Let me go ahead and start with Dale Helvig. Actually, Madam Clerk, do you have anything that you need to recite?
No, thank you, Mayor. I will
I'll
speak
turn
to
it
the-
over. You can
yeah.
recite those when I turn it over to you for the
Yes,
virtual
thank
comments.
you.
Let me start with Dale Helvig and then Dr. Carol Wintermute and then Idema Haudegi.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff. The new general plan is now officially in effect, and I applaud you for unanimously approving a solid path for advancing the city's goals. I look forward to its implementation as is and without the continuous exception request historically plaguing the development cycle due to working with a plan defined as, quote, severely out of date. For the 2022-2029 RENA cycle, Santa Ana is required to add 3,137 housing units. There are currently over 7,000 units in various stages of city approval to be built in the near term, representing a minimum of 223% over the required RENA amount. This does not include the potential 19,000 units being added in the 5 focus areas over the general plan life cycle. Continuing to exceed targets within a state RENA program, which increases unit requirements each reporting period, without providing credit for target overachievement in the previous cycles is a recipe for disaster. With the limited land that is available, the city simply can't sustain the rate of development in each RENA cycle. This is not a no-growth plea on my part. We live in an urban area and growth is to be expected. Instead, it is a request for managed and sustainable growth that will allow Santa Ana to develop a reputation for a top-rated live-work city with adequate open space for its residents to enjoy. Let's honor and respect the general plan. We don't need to amend it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carol Wintermute, and then Idema Haudegi, and then Pilar Luni.
Thank you, you nailed it. I didn't plan on speaking tonight, but I am so passionate about the gun control that I just wanted to come to support now I'm going to join, but also I'm requesting that you consider the secure gun storage ordinance to do everything we can to eliminate the tragic deaths that happen by gun violence. So that's all, and thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments. Idema Haudegi, Pilar Luni, and then Maribel Gomez.
Good evening, Honorable Council and Mayor. Nice to see you.
Idema, pull the microphone a little bit. We want to hear you.
I said, good evening, everybody. Wonderful to see you. Thank you again for the work you've done and approving the general plan. And right behind Mr. Helvig, one of the things that our city is in desperate need is to have benefits for the community, parks, better places to have a place to play, to live, to enjoy. And one of the things I would advocate that we desperately need is a cultural center. We have a great opportunity of having a landmark entry where we can have a cultural center or a place for community, because it's time to take some of the extra funds or the funds that you have for one time to buy the land of 2525 North Main and convert it into a cultural center, part of the museum district, a benefit for community. It could be something wonderful, and take advantage of the fact that it's next to Santiago Creek, and it could be a place in style like the Grand California that merges into the park behind a berm like Disney, so you can protect the neighbors with beautiful cascades of bougainvillea, a place where art can happen, our culture events can happen, the 16 de septiembre, the TED Festival, plein air artists, our colleges, our high schools can have events there. We need to have a place for community that all our tax money is used for all of us. So I would appreciate that. Number two, the use of the overtime for police. One of the things I brought to mind is that I have a daughter-in-law who works for the airlines, and the FAA puts limits on time and on pilots and all of that, so they don't get burned at both ends and are efficient in their work. When our officers are doing so much overtime, they are, every human being, I don't care how well trained you are and what fabulous qualities you have, you're going to get tired, you're going to be short-sighted or grumpy, and if we have some of our youths, I have only boys in my family, they can get kind of testy like gallitos. They can, and sometimes we just get a little bit too big for our britches. Not everybody, but you know that at that age, our hormones start kicking, and you have somebody with a short fuse that's tired, the thinking's not clear. So I think having more officers, having a better use of, so they're refreshed and clear, and we can have and our density is just going to grow with all these apartments. So we definitely need a more efficient use of the money, more officers, more people to help us. So I would really thank you to consider those two things. But a place for community, absolutely, you have a one-time opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Pilar Luni, followed by Maribel Gomez.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm over here with Norma Castellanos, and I'm going to be very brief. I just wanted to take this time to thank personally everyone, but especially Nelly Mendoza, Phil Becerra, David Peñalosa, and of course you, Mayor Sarmiento, because without you, it wouldn't be possible for us to have a celebration for the caregivers a couple of weeks ago. I'm over here with Norma Castellanos. She's the director of the Alzheimer's Latino program. There's about over 7,000 families affected by Alzheimer's in Orange County, and over 1,000 of those families are here in Santana. And I understand how important it is, your job, and I'll really appreciate as a caregiver, you took the time and just the time and the moment to look at us and see how important it is for us. It is very important to take care of the city, the parks, the sidewalks, the streets, but the most important that I appreciate is that you take care of the people of Santana. So thank you so much. Thank you for your work. And here's Santana. Here's Norma Castellanos. She wants to say something very briefly on behalf of the Alzheimer's OC.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate your generous support, Mr. Becerra and Mr. Penalosa, because without you, we won't be able to provide this special day for the families. Being a caregiver is a very hard job. Nobody understands until you face that moment that you have to take care of your family member for 24 hours a day, sometimes 36 hours. And we really appreciate your support, your generosity to make this possible. We are here with a little token of appreciation for Mr. Peñalosa and Mr. Becerra. Just something simple, but on behalf of the caregivers from Santana. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. Maribel Gomez. Oh, yes, Maribel Gomez.
Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Maribel Gómez. Soy dueña del Salón Aris Beauty Salon, ya anteriormente lo había mencionado, por 40 años. Gracias por lo recibido a la ciudad de Santana. Hoy venimos en una voz pidiendo se apruebe el 1.5 millones de dólares para beneficio de nuestros negocios. Necesitamos, por favor, gracias otra vez por todo lo que se ha hecho por nosotros, pero verdaderamente necesitamos nuevamente la ayuda de todos ustedes. Otra de las cosas que quiero mencionar es que por favor no queremos más eventos en la calle 4, los cuales muchos de nuestros negocios, más allá de beneficiarse, se han perjudicado por el estacionamiento y por muchas otras razones. Necesitamos más seguridad. Apenas hace unos días, creo que fue la noche del sábado, mi negocio otra vez, la puerta fue forzada. No tuvimos ninguna pérdida, pero seguimos con esta inseguridad en la calle 4. Ese es mi comentario y por favor les pido nuevamente pongan oído a lo que les estamos pidiendo. No es nada que no sea necesario para solventar. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Maribel Gomez, and from Artist Beauty Salon. I've been here before, and I've been here for over 40 years in my business. Thank you to the City of Santa Ana for the funds that you have provided, but we are here as one voice to request another allotment of $1.5 million for our businesses. We need this. Again, thank you for the support you have provided, but we do need the help from all of you to continue here. Another thing we want to ask is not to have any more events on 4th Street, because our businesses do not really benefit at all. More than that, they're affected by those events. We need more security. Just this past Saturday, my business was affected. The door was forced open. There was no actual loss, but we need more safety. We lack safety there. So we are coming to you with this request, so please listen to us. Thank you.
So that was our last in-person speaker. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the clerk of the council to bring on our public comments that are virtual.
Thank you, Mayor. Zoom ID, Araceli.
Wait, I think, is there another?
They're public hearing items.
Oh, that's on the budget.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
these are
that's
public
on-
comments.
Yeah, public hearing items will be heard later when the mayor opens.
Go ahead.
Zoom ID, Araceli Robles, 714gmail.com. If you would please, thank you. You may proceed with your comment.
Sí, buenas tardes.
Sí.
Mi nombre es Araceli Robles, soy residente de la ciudad de Santana y estoy hablando para que los miembros del concilio apoyen la propuesta que está llevando el fideicomiso de TRAI. TRAI es el primer fideicomiso aquí en la ciudad de Santana y estamos haciendo muchas cosas históricas y este es el momento que también me apoyen esta propuesta que va a traer mucha economías alternativas para las familias de nuestra comunidad. Agradezco mucho su tiempo y también me gustaría permanecer en la línea para el punto 16. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Araceli Robles. I'm a resident of Santa Ana, and I'm here to ask you to support the proposal for Santa Ana. Now is the time to support this proposal that will benefit the families in our community. And thank you for your time, and I would like to remain on for item 16. Thank you.
Zoom ID, Ana Charco.
Wait, hold up, my turn.
You may.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor Sarmiento. My name is Ana Charco, and I reside in Ward District 2. I'm calling in today to support of Thrive Santa Ana and the City First Community Land Trust Project. More specifically, I urge City Council to approve an amendment to Thrive Disposition and Development Agreement, DDA, allowing the completion of the final DDA milestone before December 2022. I am very excited to witness a model for economic development rooted in community participation. The updated DDA timeline also allows Thrive to move forward with soil remediation at the site, make sure the land is safe for community use, and complete fundraising efforts before the end of the year. Therefore, please support agenda item number 9 regarding the Walnut and Daisy microfarm. And have a great day. Thank you so much for your time.
Zoom ID, Laura Pantoja. If you would please select the microphone icon on your device. ¿Puede bajar el volumen en la otra aparato que está oyendo la? Laura Pantoja.
Sí, buenas tardes.
Ok, buenas tardes. ¿Puede continuar con su comentario?
Y nada más quería que me mantuviera en la línea porque quiero hablar del punto 16 después.
Okay.
Muchas gracias.
Ok, gracias.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Laura Pantoja, soy una residente, vivo en el vecindario de Towson y yo soy parte.
Perdón, sí, sí puede aguantar a decir su comentario después de cuando el.
Perdón.
Ok, gracias.
Gracias.
Zoom ID CEA, if you would please select. Thank you. You may proceed with your comment.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Hilda Ortiz, and I'm speaking on behalf of Latino Health Access on item number 9, the disposition and development agreement with Thrive Santana. We respectfully ask that you approve the extension of the timeline to allow Thrive to complete the DDA milestones before December 2022. We at LHA are excited about the development of the Walnut and Daisy microfarm that, once finalized, will contribute to the improved wellness and health of our community by offering healthy food and lifestyle options, gathering spaces, and it will bring an economic development model rooted in community participation. We are especially excited that this project is driven by the community and in its process has already brought Santana residents, organizations, and others together. Thrive has not been immune to the impacts of the ongoing pandemic, and with your support can continue to move forward with this important development. Please support the extension of the DDA tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Zoom ID Sarai Arpero, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device.
¿Sí me escucha?
Sí.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Sarai Arpero. Soy miembro de la comunidad y parte de la cooperativa en Santana. Mi comentario es para pedirle al Consejo de la Ciudad la aprobación de ampliar las fechas para finalizar el proyecto de Walnut y Daisy, para terminar los permisos, avanzar el saneamiento del suelo y para completar la recaudación de fondos que hemos estado haciendo. Somos gente de la comunidad trabajando muy duro para que este proyecto se pueda cumplir. Les pido por favor que apoyen esa extensión. Es con referente nuevamente al terreno de Walnut y Daisy. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Ariel Pero, and I am a member of the community and Santa Ana Land Trust, and I'm asking the City Council to approve the extension of the Walnut and Daisy project. This will allow us to finalize the permits and work with the soil and to raise more funds. And the community, we are from the community, and the people have been working very hard for this project. So we're asking you for the extension of this project on Walnut and Daisy. Thank you.
Zoom ID Eric Sanchez, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device.
Hi, my name is Eric Sanchez. I'm a resident, part of Ward 3. I am also the structural engineer on this project for the Walnut and Daisy microfarm. I'm here to ask for the support of this item 9. And I just want to say that soil results can be unprecedented. It's underground information that cannot be verified until borings are done and the results are interpreted by a geotechnical engineer who is not contracted well into the project. So the soils that need to be remediated have delayed our milestones. And because that information, again, was unprecedented, I'm asking for support in extending that deadline. Thank you.
Thank you. Zoom ID Clue Justice, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device.
Hello, my name is Lucero Garcia, and I work with CLU, Clergy and Laity United for Economic Justice. And first and foremost, thank you, Mayor Sarmiento and City Council members for your ongoing support for the Thrive Santana microfarm project. And CLU also sent in a letter to express support for item
9, the proposal for the Juana and Daisy microfarm is a fabulous project that would enhance the community in the city of Santana. And we received different comments from the faith leaders that we work with, including faith leaders from Santana United Methodist Church in Santana, El Getsemani United Methodist Church in Santana, Episcopal Church of the Messiah in Santana, Church of the Foothills in Santana, and many other congregations asking that for you to vote in favor of the Juana and Daisy Community Microfarm to allow completion of the final DDA milestones before December 2022. Many congregations see the value of extending grace to thrive, to faithfully complete their good work in the neighborhood. As CLU and faith communities, we ask that you join us in this request to see the vision of our community health and wellness realized with Thrive's work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And last Zoom ID, Danny, if you would please select the microphone icon to unmute your call. Thank you. You may proceed with your comment.
Hello, my name is Danny Vega, resident of Ward 3. I'm calling to ask the council to prioritize the hiring of more police officers and code enforcement officers. I believe Chief Valentine mentioned in a previous meeting that when it comes to police per capita, that we are below average for a city our size. That is unacceptable, especially given our high crime rate. I want to echo what Irma mentioned earlier. We don't want police being overworked. I'd rather that money go toward hiring more police officers and paying for overtime. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mayor and members of the council, that was the last caller, but I did want to announce that we also received written communication when Santa Ana resident provided a non-agenda item on general concerns regarding the general plan and environmental impact. 14 Santa Ana residents commented asking to end the residential permit parking program. For item number 8, when Santa Ana resident commented asking to reach out to community gardens to provide city youth direct employment. Item number 9, 15 Santa Ana residents in support of the item. And that is all I have.
Great, thank you for that. Let me go ahead and bring it back to the council. We're now on the consent calendar items 5 through 13, and I'll ask any members of the council if they wish to abstain or recuse themselves from any items or pull any items off the consent calendar. Seeing none, hearing
If
none.
not, I'll just go ahead and move the calendar, excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Becerra and a second by Councilmember Peñalosa.
And for the record, Mayor and members of the council, I just want to ensure that for item number 5, excused absence, want to recognize that Councilmember Mendoza did announce that she was going to most likely not participate for this meeting, so.
So she's no longer on the line, just for
She is no
clarification.
longer on the line,
Got it.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, council members, please vote on the motion and second to approve the consent calendar.
Councilmember Fiana, I think.
Oh, my vote is yes.
Thank you. A motion passes 6-1 with council members Hernandez, Lopez, Peñalosa, Fan, Mayor Pro Tem Becerra, and Mayor Sarmiento voting yes, and Councilmember Mendoza absent.
Great, thank you, everybody. That brings us to the business calendar items. Item number 14, which is the 2022-2023 miscellaneous fee resolution. And I'll ask staff if there is a brief presentation.
Certainly. Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members, the item before you is to adopt a resolution establishing our miscellaneous fees for the upcoming fiscal year. We discussed this item with you at the previous council meeting, and we did receive direction that you did want to forego raising the miscellaneous fees by the full CPI. So instead, the miscellaneous fee resolution is only proposing a 3.5% increase. And I do have the Executive Director of Finance if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. I'll go ahead and bring it back to the council to see if there's any questions or comments. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I just, on this particular item, wanted to thank Min Tai, Jason Kwok, and Catherine Downs for working with me to significantly reduce the fees for these inspections of business locations where no tenant improvements are taking place and there are no changes in the type of occupancy. So after adoption of this fee resolution, new businesses in Santa Ana will pay 75% less for those inspections. And these are the types of actions that will help smaller businesses in Santa Ana thrive. So with that, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve.
Great, thank you for that motion. Is there a second? Great, we have a motion and a second. Seeing no other further discussion, council members, please vote.
Excuse me, motion passes with council members Hernandez, Lopez, Peñalosa, Fan, Mayor Pro Tem Becerra, and Mayor Sarmiento voting yes, and council member Mendoza absent.
Great, thank you. That brings us to item number 15, which is the public hearing on the consolidated budget. And let me go ahead and open the actual public hearing now and ask if staff has any presentation, or would we like to go to public comments on this? Do we have any public comments on this, Madam Clerk?
No, we do not, and we didn't receive any written communication.
I'm sorry, I'm on item 15, so this is on the business license tax rates, not the budget item. So no public comments on this?
Correct, I'm sorry, and I was on item 15.
Great. Any presentation on this?
So this item before you is to modify the municipal code merely to consolidate the business license tax provisions in one chapter. This was the second step that we proposed to you that's needed before we take the ballot measure forward to have the voters decide if they want to make our business license tax more equitable.
Got it. So let me go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the city council to see if there's any questions or comments of staff.
Mayor Sarmiento, I'd go ahead and move to approve.
Thank you. There's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Second by Lopez. Seeing no other questions or comments, council members, please vote.
Okay, motion passes with council members Hernandez, Lopez, Peñalosa, Fan, Mayor Pro Tem Becerra, Mayor Sarmiento voting yes, with council member Mendoza absent.
Great, thank you. Now that brings us to item number 16, which is the public hearing on the budget for this year, this upcoming 22-23 year. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and we do have some members of the public that wish to address us and are here in person, and I believe we may have some online as well. So let me go ahead and begin with them. Or would staff like to make their presentation first, and then we can go to the public comments?
Certainly your choice, Mayor, as sometimes the presentation may answer some of the questions that the public commenters
Let's
have.
go with the presentation.
Okay, we will load up the presentation, but tonight, this public hearing, as introduced by the mayor, is the first step in formalizing the upcoming fiscal year budget. Before I kick off the presentation, I want to personally thank each of you for the many hours you have spent on sharing your policy initiatives and rolling up your sleeves to delve into this most important and voluminous task. So to get started with the presentation, for tonight's agenda, pause 1 second so Catherine can load it. And just go to the first slide. I'll start with giving you the agenda and a brief overview. Do you want to advance to the agenda? So tonight I'm going to do just a brief overview, and then I'll turn it over to our finance director. She will walk you through the components of the citywide budget with a focus on the general fund revenues and expenditures. The next segment will highlight staff's proposed budget changes and new initiatives, and this is in response to your most recent feedback, along with focus on youth spending and improving our infrastructure. The last segment is when you will have the opportunity to briefly hear from each executive director on items in their department. For the overview, I want to emphasize the incredible work that has been done under your leadership at addressing many of the fiscal challenges that faced this city just a few years ago. Today, your general fund budget is not only balanced, we have a rainy day reserve of 18% or $70 million. A long-range plan has already been implemented to provide for the sunset of the additional 0.5% reduction in our sales tax rate in 2029. We are in the enviable position of being able to provide significant increases for the services prioritized by you and the community. In some cases, as you will see later in the presentation, 2 operating departments have proposed general fund increases of 100%. There is significant spending programmed for youth services to the tune of $26.3 million, along with capital improvement proposed spending in excess of $44 million, including 35% for parks and facilities, and other funding specifically set aside for pavement maintenance and a robust budget for traffic calming measures requested by our neighborhoods. As part of the individual department presentations, our directors will share with you highlights from the current year and department goals for the upcoming year, and also be available for any questions. Hopefully tonight will result in the introduction of the ordinance, amended with the staff's presented changes, and set us on the course to adopt the budget prior to the beginning of the new year on July 1st. And with that, I will turn it over to your Finance Director, Catherine Downs.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and council members. We're going to give you a quick overview of the budget here. Our citywide budget is a proposed over $750 million, with the general fund comprising more than half of funding. The general fund accounts for the city's unrestricted revenue sources. Our general fund revenue estimate is $390 million, with 61% coming from property tax and sales tax. Proposed general fund spending shown here includes both recurring and one-time items, but does not include the latest proposed additions. As reported on May 12th, the city conducted robust public outreach to understand the community's priorities. The City Council held their budget workshops on May 12th and May 17th. In addition, staff met with each council member to have a better understanding of the City Council's priorities. Based on all of this input, we recommend the following additions to the general fund budget. These items have not yet been incorporated into the line item budget, but have been added to the following set of slides highlighting your priorities. Pavement maintenance of $2 million. Last year, the budget included a one-time allocation for a pilot artist grant program. Due to the success of the program, we recommend adding it to your ongoing baseline. Teen Time after-school programming at 2 locations, sports and recreation equipment lending, plus additional programming. Previously, we had an allocation for various initiatives, including police oversight. We now recommend a discrete allocation. A one-time allocation of $3 million for traffic calming, which includes medians and traffic circles. Startup grants for nonprofits, and refurbishment of neighborhood entry monument signs. Through the budget process, priority initiatives were identified that can be addressed with our existing budget or the proposed spending plan for the upcoming fiscal year. This includes a pathway for continued service from CityNet, conducting an RFP process for programming at the Cypress Fire Station once it has been renovated, exploring use of space at city facilities and as part of new development, determining the feasibility of a new park at Riverview, developing an option for a 3rd library location, proposing a funding option to complete the Bristol Street widening project, and rolling out a 2nd Knowledge Mobile. The budget is increasing this year. This is a snapshot of increases for departments that provide direct service to the community. Public Works increased by over 100% by adding pavement maintenance, traffic calming, alley maintenance, rehab for various city-owned buildings, street lights, and other right-of-way maintenance such as medians and traffic signals. Community Development increased 100% by adding money for South Main Corridor revitalization, additional downtown business assistance, and more funding for youth employment. We had significant increases for park maintenance and security, as well as city events. Other increases include teen time from the library and the contractual increase for fire service. One of your priorities has been youth services. Spending will increase by a net of $5.5 million. Major increases for youth employment and youth programs were partially offset by a reduction in spending for one-time park projects funded from the Cannabis Public Benefit Fund in the current year. This is a sampling of programs available to the city's youth from community development, library, police, and parks and recreation. We received multiple requests to maintain or improve the city's infrastructure. This is a summary of the proposed capital improvement program. Funding sources are on the left, and the types of infrastructure are on the right. This summary shows how park maintenance increased by 12%. Here is a summary of the proposed $6 million spending increase for pavement, sidewalks, and traffic calming devices such as speed humps and traffic circles. The pavement maintenance figures shown here are in addition to specifically identified roadway rehab projects. The City Council received a comprehensive update for the revised spending plan on May 12th. The spending plan includes some of the City Council and community priorities we heard through the budget process. The city has received the second $64 million tranche of federal money from the American Rescue Plan Act. We plan to return soon with another spending plan update as well as specific recommendations for the second tranche. This general fund summary includes the latest proposed additions to the spending plan. The proposed budget is balanced, meaning spending does not exceed resources. The 18% general fund reserve is funded, and there is a remaining available balance of $6.3 million. The next portion of our presentation includes a short overview from each department. Daisy Perez will present both the City Council and City Manager budgets.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I will begin this evening with the brief overview of the City Council proposed budget. As you can see in the org chart, here we go. The City Council has 3 employees, the City Attorney, Clerk of the Council, and the City Manager. In this year's budget, each City Council member also has a $60,000 budget for contracted policy aides. The proposed City Council budget is just over $1 million, which is entirely funded by the general fund. Now I will move on to the City Manager's office budget. Okay. The proposed budget for the City Manager's office includes 14 full-time positions and 7 part-time positions. New additions include support staff for operations, grant administration, communications, and administrative support. The total proposed budget for the City Manager's office is $3.4 million, and that's funded from the general fund, special revenue received from PEG fees to operate our CTV3 channel, and grant funds and other restricted revenue sources. I would now like to take a few moments to highlight some of the major accomplishments our office was able to achieve this year. First, spearheaded by Daniel Soto, we launched a new city website. We launched the Revive Santa Ana initiative. We expanded our communications team, and we completed numerous City Council requests. Some of the goals for the next year include a new police oversight body, the completion of the HELOC grant, expanding the city's critical communication methods, and actively pursuing new grant opportunities to support the city's strategic plan, goals, and objectives. At this time, I would now like to introduce our City Attorney, Sonia.
Thank you, Daisy. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the budget for our City Attorney's office. You'll see on our first page our organizational chart. This chart will show you that in our office we have myself, the City Attorney, and we have our employees broken down into 4 areas: administration, our transactional group, our general counsel group, and our police legal advisor. With this new budget, we'll have 2 additional positions that were unfrozen and 1 new position. As you can see here from the actual budget, our office represents just 0.5% of the entire general fund, and we have just a very small portion of special revenues that fund our operations. I'd like to briefly highlight for you some of our successes this past year. We responded to over 1,400 requests for legal services, including the preparation of agreements, ordinances, resolutions, and requests for legal advice. We defended in-house 57 litigation matters, some of the highest numbers we've had in over 10 years. We also helped manage an additional 28 litigation matters that are handled by our risk management department and by outside counsel. We initiated nuisance abatement litigation regarding several residential properties, and we also provided legal advice regarding our ARPA funding and help throughout the pandemic times. Some of our goals for this coming year are to continue to provide our well-reasoned and thoughtful legal support to all of our commissions, our staffs, our staff positions, and our city council, assist with any necessary legal advice and counsel regarding the upcoming municipal election. We will continue to aggressively defend the city and all of its employees and boards and commissions and the city council in any and all litigation. And we're going to continue to initiate a nuisance abatement action procedure. We do have a special program in which we're working with the California Attorney General's office. And finally, we'll continue to support our council-driven initiatives and projects. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to the clerk of the council.
Thank you. So our office is composed of several different things, objectives that we have. One is administration, legislative, elections, records, boards and communication. We do have 7 full-time positions and four part-timers. Our budget is 0.2% of the city budget, and a large part of it is really election-driven. And some of our highlights is public engagement. We did conduct several meetings beyond what was required by law for our redistricting process. We also do a lot of digital documentation. We want to ensure that all the paper trails that we have are available online as necessary. And then we do process a lot of internal projects or a lot of documentation internally. And we also ensure our residents' right to vote. I work with the ROV and a lot of stakeholders and city staff to retain voting locations and ballot boxes and fixing any kind of issues that any one of the vote centers might have. We are also a one-stop shop for legislative records. So we do manage our agenda system and we train staff. Our goals for the upcoming year is to have a general election, managing the 2022 general election in November. And then we also are looking to streamline our document workflow for our public records, our proposed lobbyists, and agreements. And then we also are looking to finalize our retention schedule and keep it update annually as the law change. And then train and support and continue to excel with city staff, boards members, and also residents. And with that, I will hand it over to Community Development Agency.
Thank you, Daisy, Mayor, Council. Thank you very much. Our Community Development Agency is a $116 million department with 62 full-time employees and 16 part-time employees spread among these 4 different divisions. You'll see that 87% of that comes from federal, state, and local grants. CDA has worked on quality of life issues, including the SMART pilot program. Next slide, please. The SMART program this year, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, which you're all familiar with, job training and work experience programs, as well as the implementation of rent stabilization this year. Some of the things we're excited to bring you for next year is the startup of grants for some nonprofits, counseling and mental health. We'll be bringing you more youth jobs through the Work Center, more business assistance grants, both in downtown and South Main, artist grants, parking structure murals, the GAP Graffiti Arts Program, more permanent supportive housing and project-based housing vouchers, and we'll also have our first full year of our new homeless shelter. Next, I will turn it over to Mr. Jason Motzek.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. The Human Resources Department is an administrative support department consisting of 31 full-time employees working across 5 operating divisions. The department's total budget is approximately $59.8 million, of which 1% or $3.9 million is general fund monies. Fiscal year 21-22 highlights include streamlining human resources services, enhancing the rideshare and wellness programs, and expanding our advertising presence for city recruitments. Fiscal year 22-23 goals include enhancing recruitment and benefit services, maximizing services through utilization of technology, and advancing the skills and abilities of city staff, ultimately improving efficiency and services to our citizens. With that, I'll turn it over to Jack Chula, Information Technology.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. The IT department is an internal service department that provides technology services for all the departments citywide. The department is made up of 5 specialized units that consist of 23 full-time staff and 4 part-time college interns. The proposed IT budget of $16.5 million consists of $10.5 million in ongoing support and maintenance for the existing technology and $6 million for one-time new technology projects, all of which comes from the IT Service Fund. Some of the highlights of the IT department's current year is enhanced cybersecurity, protection and tools and training to help protect the city against cybersecurity attacks. The start of the implementation of the new land management system while also making new improvements to the existing system. We continued digital transformation projects, including the development of a new digital AP invoice processing system, which eliminates paper, signatures, and other unnecessary tasks. We had infrastructure enhancements, including phone circuit upgrades to reduce long distance and installing technology equipment at the new homeless shelter. We had application upgrades to the payroll, financial, utility billing, cashiering, and asset management systems. And we also implemented a CRM system to be used for Public Works call center. Our goals for this year include making additional cybersecurity improvements to protect the city against new cyber threats, enhancing data center facilities and processing equipment, and upgrading wireless Wi-Fi equipment citywide. We're also going to be making improvements and upgrades to several of the key financial systems. I will now turn it over to the Library Services Director, Brian Sternberg.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council. I'm excited to provide you with a brief budgetary overview of the Library Services Department, as well as an update on some of our major goals and accomplishments. The Library Services Department is divided into 5 divisions and contains 32 full-time and 62 part-time positions. The library's budget is $8.4 million, which includes funding from special revenues, such as cannabis and Measure X. Now let's move on to some of our highlights. To further promote services and programming to Santa Ana youth, the library implemented a new Knowledge Mobile library service that kicks off this week with visits to local parks, community centers, schools, and other organizations throughout the city of Santa Ana. The Knowledge Mobile focuses on providing services to youth and families of all ages. Also, utilizing utilizing Revive Santa Ana revenues, the library developed a series of new and exciting youth-focused digital literacy and technology programs, including the extremely popular Library of Things collection, which includes games, instruments, and electronics available for checkout. Also, in response to the pandemic and the need to promote efficient, contactless, and flexible service, the library implemented a variety of new improvements. Among these are a laptop computer dispensing kiosk at both library locations, patron self-checkout terminals, and RFID-based circulation and collection management systems. And finally, a book and library materials kiosk at the Santa Ana Regional Transportation Center and the PAL Center was installed. Now let's move on to some of our goals. Building on a new hybrid service model, we plan to launch a new teen time after-school program at 2 Santa Ana community centers with services targeting young adults. Services might include programs for LGBTQ+ youth, art activities, and STEM career prep, including coding, virtual reality, and robotics. We also plan to implement a second, larger bookmobile that will help reach even more Santa Ana youth and better meet the diverse needs of our community. In line with our goal of creating a long-term library master plan that will help evaluate locations, services, and staffing needs, we hope to complete the design phase for all 3 of our current capital projects. These include a main library transformation that will restore our flagship mid-century modern location while also updating it with the latest technology and interactive learning spaces for children. An exciting renovation of the New Hope Library that will see this facility equipped with a state-of-the-art tech lab is also planned. And finally, an innovative new outdoor public library a first of a kind in the USA, I believe, at Jerome Park will feature educational, technological, and play-focused learning experiences that will advance equity and access to disproportionately impacted and underserved Santa Ana communities. And now I would like to welcome our Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department.
Thank you, Brian. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. Parks and Recreation consists of 3 divisions with 53 full-time and 163 part-time members under a $19.6 million budget. 3.4% of that comes from general funds. This year, Parks and Recreation has worked on bringing a variety of services back to the community. Some of the highlights from this last year include the recent adoption of the historic Santa Ana Parks Master Plan. We are also happy to announce that recreation is back with the introduction of the Movies in the Park series, the Park Host program at Thornton Park, and free teen excursions. Parks Maintenance installed many new amenities at Parks facilities. And finally, the city broke ground on the development of 2 new park sites. Next fiscal year, we are excited to bring to the community new Santa Ana Zoo exhibits and educational opportunities, new synthetic turf fields at multiple park locations, the acquisition of 3 new park sites, and finally, Parks and Rec is producing new, engaging, established recreational programs, activities, and events throughout the city, including concerts in the park, Hispanic Heritage Month, including the Fiestas Patrias celebration, Indigenous Peoples Day, and the Winter Village Ice Rink and Tree Lighting Ceremony. I would now like to turn the presentation over to Min Tai.
Thank you, Tim. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. The Planning and Building Division provides a suite of development and enforcement services to our community. Our staff consists of 94 full-time and 17 part-time positions. Our total budget for this upcoming year is $26.3 million. A couple of highlights of our code enforcement effort from the current budget include recovery of $200,000 in abatement costs, implementation of a public nuisance prevention program using signposting campaign to inform the public as well as property owners of code actions. Our development services team implemented an electronic plan review process to streamline permitting process and enable the city to reduce costs for the applicant and maintaining a high level of service. This team also processed over 10,000 applications and permits with a total permits valuation of over $350 million. For the upcoming budget year, we will build upon our enforcement and development successes by expanding our capacity in the area of cannabis enforcement and the public counter services, migrating our building records keeping system to a digital environment to improve information access, and finally, initiating the heavy lifting of updating the zoning code to implement the general plan, as well as reorganizing our planning division staff to address environmental justice concerns that were raised as part of the general plan. And with that, I'd like to hand the presentation over to our police chief, David Valentine.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, and Santa Ana community. I will be presenting the police department. Whoops. Police department has 631 full-time positions, 85 part-time positions. We are currently authorized at 384 police officers, funded at 376 police officers. The police department makes up 19% of the overall city budget and 36% of the general fund. Highlights include recruitment, hiring, retention of personnel throughout the department, expanded training with focus on de-escalation and bias-based training, exceeding 7,300 hours. In response to violence, and specifically gun violence, we had an 81% increase in ghost gun seizures and a 19% increase in overall gun seizures. We established a community engagement division, which encompasses focus on youth services, youth and family services. We also continued our focus on reducing 911 calls for service response times, with lowering that time to 5 minutes, 31 seconds in 2021. Concurrently, we also increased patrol staffing by allocating across the department during, throughout, and continuing as we recover from the pandemic. Our goals for the next year are to establish a district policing liaison program where each representative would have an assigned officer to liaison with a variety of different community programs. We will continue our efforts to increase participation on youth-centered programs to include our Police Explorer program, our POW program, our cadets, a teen academy, and then also explore youth investment programs to include boxing, additional youth activities at our POW Center. We established a softball league, kicked that off. We intend to expand that. Many of you are aware of that we have that service. It involved 2 teams for the first year, the Ladybugs and the Bumblebees. And that was a 6-game series. They tied 3-3, and we hope to expand that. And we invite all of you and all of the community to join us. It's a tremendous opportunity to engage with our community, our families, and our impacted youth as well. We also will continue our focus on enhancing transparency and engage specific nonprofits that we can call on to leverage to respond to different incidents in the community involving violence. Nonprofits such as Neutral Ground, Project Kinship, and others that can help us leverage and mitigate conflicts in the community. And with that, I will turn it over to our Orange County Fire Authority Chief, Henry.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Jim Henry, Division Chief, Orange County Fire, representing Orange County Fire Authority Services for the City of Santa Ana. Good evening. So the Orange County Fire Authority maintains a workforce of 450 to 500 personnel on duty a day. In the City of Santa Ana, we have 48 on duty a day, and as you know, we provide all risk responses. If you look at our sections up there, our operations, which produces a majority of our workload, our community risk reduction, our community education, and our administration. Our community risk reduction obviously does our fire inspections and permitting and processes like that. If you look at the overall city budget, fire and emergency medical services total budget accounts for 7%. I think it's important to remember the fire authority is a piece of that, as well as care ambulance and the billing piece on that. Orange County Fire Authority, some highlights. So last year, Orange County Fire Authority in the City of Santa Ana, we responded to 28,435 calls of service, accounts for 20% of all OCFA service calls. Also, we worked with the Orange County Health Department in producing a clinic at Santa Ana College, and personnel from this division were responsible for help vaccinating over 128,000 members of the community in the county alone. Also, on top of the pandemic and the closed down, we had 86 community outreach events, and Santa Ana had 45% more community outreach events than any other city that we served in the entire county. We worked with the city staff and building and planning and housing to assist with getting the Carnegie Shelter opening, and we changed our Explorer program to a cadet program to streamline the ability to process applicants and onboarding of students. Breakdown on costs. Our biggest increase in costs this year were for commodities like fuel, electricity, and then as well as workers' comp. Total statistical calls, just a breakdown of the incidents, and this is not all of them, these are just large categories of them. Some goals for next year, a station facility capital improvement program. So we've been working with the city to identify a long-range plan for capital funding of projects in the city, such as our underground fuel tanks, security fencing, gender accommodations, and upgrades. We've also in the process of continuing to expand our cadet program, and we're working with Santa Ana Unified to help greater opportunities for local youth to come into the fire service. Continue to partner with the city, county, and state and federal agencies, and looking for ways to continue to support each other in areas of public safety, and then continued community outreach through education, reduce the impacts of fire, drowning, and other public safety issues. Also, one of the things that we're doing, and I'd like to invite all of you, is to come out this month on June 25th for our Girls Empowerment Camp. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Public Works. Mr. Nabil.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. Public Works Agency has 5 divisions. We are 302 employees strong. Our budget is $262 million, 11% of the general fund. Some of our highlighted accomplishment last year, we awarded $25 million in capital improvement programs in the water department. In addition, we won the best collection system in California in the medium size. We also planted 500 trees. We also fixed about 1,000 locations of sidewalk in the city. We applied for grant funding for heavy duty vehicles, CNG vehicles that are compliant with the AQMD regulations. We also built 4 EV charging stations. We delivered 14 capital improvement projects, and we were awarded $21 million in grants. In addition, last year we awarded the biggest contract in the city for waste collection to Republic Services and initiated the Clean City initiatives for the city. Some of the goals as listed, as you can see, some of them listed here, but I would like to also highlight additional goals that we have. We are embarking on $2 million in pavement maintenance, $4 million in traffic calming projects, $150,000 in neighborhood entry, gate monument repairs, $2.5 million in park additional contract and service enhancement, $1.5 million in park security, $1.5 million in alley improvements, $1 million in sidewalk repairs, $3 million in local street preventive maintenance, $600,000 for street lights, $17 million in gas tax road maintenance and CIP projects, $5.7 million in M2 funded projects, competitive, and in all we have $44 million worth of capital improvement program for next year. Thank you.
I'm bringing up the rear of this presentation. The Finance Department includes accounting, budget, purchasing, payroll, treasury, and first floor customer service operations. Although we do provide direct service to the public, we are primarily an administrative operation providing all finance-related service to other departments using only 1% of the budget. Finance highlights for this year include pension debt refinancing, system upgrades in preparation for the AMI project, new and improved methods of engaging the public during the budget process, and compliance and reporting support for the revised spending plan. Finance goals for the coming year support the city's strategic priorities and include maximizing our local tax revenue through audit, more system upgrades, and our proposed business license ballot measure to make the tax more affordable for small business and to simplify calculations. That concludes our prepared presentation, and staff is ready to answer your questions.
Great, thank you. Before I bring it back to the City Council, let me go ahead and call on members of the public that are here in person, then I'll turn it over to the clerk so she can call on members of the public that are waiting online. Let me begin with Rachel Pozos, followed by Cynthia Espinosa, followed by Angie Baya.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Rachel Pozos, algunos de ustedes ya me conocen, espero les dé gusto saber de nosotras nuevamente. Somos Alianza Translatinex, ya que por un largo año Por muchos de ustedes se olvidaron de nosotras, en lo cual había visto supuestamente de su parte que íbamos a trabajar en algo, lo cual nunca recibimos respuesta después de cierto tiempo. Estoy aquí porque creo que también las vidas de las mujeres trans y personas trans y de la comunidad en general también son importantes, también nos matan, no nomás con una arma, de otras 1000 maneras más crueles. Estoy aquí también porque necesitamos mucho de salud mental, necesitamos acceso a vivienda accesible, ya que supuestamente desde el año pasado hay estas ayudas en el condado, aquí en Santana, y no hemos podido acceder a las organizaciones a las cuales se les brindan estos apoyos o estas ayudas. Nos dan algún número a la comunidad y llamamos 1 y 1000 veces y no nos contestan, nos transfieren de un lado a otro. Necesitamos también que se nos incluyan en estos budgets a las personas que realmente sí hemos trabajado. Tenemos un reporte aquí, por si gustan leerlo, que organizaciones por más de 25 años establecidas en la ciudad de Santana no han hecho. Nosotros somos una organización con 2 años en la ciudad de Santana y ya tenemos un reporte que ya que algunos de ustedes nos los pidieron supuestamente para podernos ayudar. Entonces, ahora no sé cuál sea el pretexto para que no nos sigan ayudando. Seguimos trabajando. Es lamentable que con la ayuda de otros condados o de otras ciudades y no de la que nosotros vivimos, de la que nosotros también aportamos de nuestros taxes. De alguna otra manera vivimos aquí, tenemos años viviendo aquí y creo que ya es justo que se nos reconozca y se nos ayude a la comunidad, específicamente a la comunidad transgénero. Buenas noches.
Bueno, muy buenas
Good
noches.
evening.
Mi nombre es Cintia Espinosa.
¿Me permite, por favor, traducir? Gracias. Good evening. My name is Rachel Pozos, and I'm happy to be here with you. And I've been here before. I hopefully that you're happy that we are back here. We are from Alianza Trans Latinx, and I think you have forgotten us. You said you were supposedly going to help us, but we haven't heard from you. And we were supposed to be working together on some things, and nothing has happened. I'm here to say that also trans lives matter. And we are also killed, maybe not by guns, but by other means that are even more cruel. And we need mental health services. We need affordable housing. There is help that I've heard. There's help in Santa Ana, but we do not have access to that. There are many organizations that give us a phone number and we call and there's no answers. There's no answer to us. And we need this help. We have been working. We're working with organizations, and we've done the work that other organizations have not done, that have been here for over 25 years, and they have not done the work. And just in the past 2 years, we have created a report. We presented to you. Some of you have asked us about the report, and we need your help. We're ready to help and to work with you. What is the excuse? We have been working with other organizations throughout the county, but we have not received any help from here where we live. So we should help the trans community. Thank you.
Cynthia Espinosa, followed by Angie Paya, followed by Delilah Snell.
Sí, muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Cintia Espinosa, soy cofundadora de Alianza Trans Latinx. Pues yo lo que quiero agregar es que ya son 3 años y 3 años estamos haciendo aquí presencia y esperemos que este año nos toque una parte de lo que nos corresponde como comunidad trans y género no conforme. Es cierto que dijo mi amiga también que tenemos estas carpetas, es un resumen de los servicios de atención médica para las personas con VIH y enfermedades de transmisión sexual, Translatinx y género no conforme del condado. Este trabajo se hizo en alianza con el condado de salud del condado de Orange County. Hace 2 semanas nos dieron los resultados y acá están las encuestas. Nos gustaría que tomen importancia, que necesitamos la ayuda porque más comunidad transgénero y género no conforme siguen huyendo de sus países, vienen a pedir asilo y no tenemos nada que ofrecerles. Es que por favor pongan mucha atención y nos gustaría pues que cada vez que nos acerquemos a ustedes y nos ofrezcan ayuda pues sea accesible, porque dicen que apliquemos, se aplica y parece que nos ponen como te piden las pelas de las vírgenes para poder acceder a esa ayuda, y por eso nunca nos llega la ayuda. Así es que por favor pongan atención. Aquí están las encuestas, están en inglés, para que no pongan pretexto de que estaban en español y no pudieron entender nada de eso. Se los vamos a agradecer. Muchísimas gracias.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Espinosa. I'm a co-founder of Alianza Trans-Latinx, and we've been coming here for 3 years, and we hope to be a part of this solution that you help the trans community. And like my friend said, we have been working. We have the surveys here. We have this report, and this is services offered for people with HIV and STDs, Latin, transgender people, and gender nonconforming. And we have been working with these surveys with the Orange County Healthcare Agency. So we need your help. We have people that are coming from our countries that are seeking asylum, and we have nothing to offer them. So listen to us. We need your help. When there is help available, we cannot access it. We ask for it, we apply, and there's too many hurdles to get the help. I don't know what's going on. So this survey is here. It's in English, so you don't say that it's only in Spanish and you didn't understand. So thank you.
Angie Baya, followed by Delilah Snell, followed by Idma Hauregi. Angie? Go ahead, Delilah. I'll hold the card for Angie in case she comes back.
At the time, right? Sorry. Good evening, Santa Ana Mayor and City Council. My name is Delilah Snell. I have a business in downtown called Alta Baja Market. I've been speaking to you for months about the OCTA streetcar project and its devastating impacts it's had on our downtown. This project, let's face it, it's a mess. And the way this downtown and the city has been treated by OCTA is shameful. And we, you, and all of us do not deserve this. In April, this council and mayor took leadership and released $1.5 million in relief. And I'm hoping that you will dedicate some part of this budget to this, because we're important and we're suffering still. And, you know, this is not a bailout, this is not a handout, this is leadership to show to care to a business district that has been unfairly harmed. To have this happen after COVID is unreal. It is actually worse than COVID because everybody else is open except for us. It's kind of like a cancer. It's spreading, and it's going to 3rd Street, to Santa Ana Boulevard, to 5th Street, the cross streets. It's spreading, and it's not just 4th Street that's affected. The fact that proper wayfinding signage was never really thought of for this area, and it's still not addressed, gives customers a long-standing impression that downtown is a mess. The fact that there is little to no improvement on signage, which has nothing to do with you, it's OCTA, it gives customers a negative experience that will last for a while. Those of you who are small business owners, you know that when you lose a customer, it's very hard to get them back. And it could take 1 to 2 years to get them back from this negative experience. There are people on 4th Street that still have not experienced the full frontal force of this construction. They may feel a little bit of impact, but they will probably this month. And they will feel it very badly, especially in the holidays. And all of us are going to feel it in the holidays. And this is when we make the most money. There's holiday shopping, there are parties for restaurants. And this is when we make up for the entire year, and we will be damaged by this. And so I just hope that everybody here gives, understanding that we need this help. And again, this is not a bailout, but this is a relief that we justly deserve. And thank you for your time. And I did vote today, just didn't wear my sticker. Thank you.
Thank you. Idma Hauregi, followed by Sean McConney, followed by Victor Mendez, and then Hector Bustos.
Hello again, and I did vote too. I have an item that my husband has been very concerned. My family's in construction, and some of the clients he has have requested that he start buying all his materials in other cities in order to save, because of inflation, you know how everything is expensive, and because of our sales taxes, he's starting to have to buy materials in other cities, not in Santa Ana. And I'm starting to see, I have several family members who own businesses, and they're starting to really look at their budgets and how the businesses are run. I don't know if this is the right time, but to revisit that we have the highest sales taxes in the county with the lowest services, and our businesses are starting to think elsewhere. That's going to hurt us overall. It is more efficient to have very big, thriving businesses, medium, small, and large, with a lower tax base so the consumers can come, our downtown can thrive. So it's something to think about, of the efficiency of how we're taxed. That's the one item that is really concerning. A different item still on the budget for the police department. I personally went to visit the PAL programs twice because I don't like to advocate for something I am not a personal witness to. And one of the things that it was like a trickle-down effect that I noticed, that all the business owners came and thanked them because of the presence of the police substation there, that the crime was lowered in the businesses right adjacent to it, and the apartment owner also were very thankful because the transients and the crime elements have kind of gone away. So when you consider expanding the PAL programs, because it's fabulous, the girls were doing martial arts. They requested martial arts, and I thought that was phenomenal, that girls take self-defense, that if we could have one in every ward with its substation, then we have this positive and faster response. So that's a thought. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your efforts, and I really thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Sean McConney, Victor Mendez, followed by Hector Bustos, and then Ana Padilla.
Good evening. Sean McConney from Fabrica Store. As you probably know, I have been here over 30 years. Thankfully, we heard tonight that you are adding some money for our cause and in your budget. So I don't know if it's necessary we continue talking about this or if it's a done deal. Hopefully you have added money and we don't need. So thank you so much. I don't need to say anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. It's the best comments all night. Victor Mendez, followed by Hector Bustos, followed by Ana Padilla.
Thank you. One moment. One moment, please. So I'm going to talk, that was a great presentation by staff, so I'm going to talk about the things they didn't say. And I wish to acknowledge Ms. Downs for being very patient with me and kind of helping me get through this 800-page detailed budget. So here are some of my observations, and they're all facts. We should restore the $3 million in cannabis funding for youth and other services. Currently, the sub-enforcement services are 87% higher than they were last year, led by the police department at 185% higher. That tax was meant for our youth, not for body cams or for computers for the police department or for 60% of the code enforcement staff. It's meant for our youth, so we need to take that money back and put it toward youth services. Police overtime, let's reduce it by 1.2 million. Right now you have a PAL line item called PAL revenue overtime. It's about $400,000. So I don't know where that's coming from. I always thought PAL was a volunteer service by our police officers, and we aren't charging them $75 an hour. Let's just reduce the police field operations to 1.5 million. That's double what it was in 2019. It effectively gives them 1.8 million because they have $300,000 in revenue offset for overtime for events, etc. So it's a respectable budget. People are looking for money to do different things. Transfer $500,000 from the equipment internal service revenue fund, internal service fund to the general fund. You have a balance of about $6 million, or would leave a balance of about $6 million. I'm not too sure why that balance is so high. I think the ISFs need a lot of cleanup, and I'm sure that will happen. But for now, you might just have some money sitting there that you could otherwise use. With respect to the pension trust fund, you are going to get a bill from CalPERS. You will have to pay more this year because of CalPERS' decision to lower their discount rate to 6.8%. I'm not sure if that bill is 7.7 million. From what I've seen in the pension outlook over at CalPERS, it could be lower. I'd only ask that you defer putting it into the trust, because once you put it into the trust, it's gone, it's locked out. You might be limiting your options. The police commission structure, like I said, let's try to make that lean and very clean and very efficient. Going forward, the workers' compensation reserves, your medical costs are a time bomb, that's all I really can say. Let's look at executive management for police. Let's look at our litigation and legal fees. And let's get a Measure X savings funds that we can actually track and measure this long-range plan that should be in place. I will not support an extension of Measure X if I don't see some lean, mean, efficient practices. But if I see the city trying to do their best, you will have a great advocate in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Hector Bustos, followed by Ana Padilla, followed by Maria Perez.
Hello, everybody. Happy Pride. I want to begin by just thanking the leaders from Alianza Translatinx who spoke a little earlier today for their work in the community. You know, it's really great to see that city staff has proposed a grant program for organizations in our community, but in the presentation, this is a one-time expenditure. This needs to be a reoccurring thing for our community because there are organizations in Santana who are doing amazing work for a lot of underserved community, like the trans community, like trans youth. And so it's important that we're investing $150,000 in next year's budget and moving forward to provide these grants for community-based organizations that are doing work around mental health services for trans and queer youth, who are doing work in reentry programs and services for system-impacted youth, and who are doing a lot of work around counseling support and preventative services for our youth. Secondly, it was great to see that city staff included a $1 million allocation for the police oversight here in Santana. Santana residents have been calling for police oversight since the 1960s. And so it's really, really important that we invest in police oversight. And it's important that this council today approves this expenditure. Thirdly, we need to continue to invest in youth jobs in the city. We know that the pandemic has had has been a financial burden for a lot of families, and a lot of young people in the city have had to pick up extra jobs just to financially support their families because a lot of people lost their jobs in this pandemic. And so it's important that we allocate increased funding for at least one additional staff person at the city's work center who is doing a lot of this work and making sure that our youth have jobs and internship opportunities. We also need to increase funding just in city departments like the library. We need to invest in internships that help develop STEM skills. And lastly, we need to invest in youth service programs and increase the funding for youth service programs within areas here in City Hall that are not the police department so that we can provide young people with access to skill development, recreation, and housing. We need cost-free sports programs. It kind of blows my mind that we have this money, but a lot of families still have to pay for youth programs in the city. That's an easy cost that we can get rid of for families so that our youth can get involved. We also need some housing assistance for our trans and queer youth. And lastly, let's expand hotspots for Wi-Fi for young people here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Ana Padilla, followed by Maria Perez, followed by Tim Rush, followed by Guadalupe Barragan.
Good evening, Mayor Sarmiento, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council. My name is Ana Padilla, and I have two businesses in downtown Santa Ana. I'm just going to be very brief. I echo everything that my other colleagues have been saying. We still continue to need your help. And we just want to thank you for the first 1.5 millions. But we also want to ask you to continue helping the businesses and to take into consideration the extra help that we need, because that will mean to save our businesses through this horrible and mismanaged project. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Maria Perez, followed by Tim Rush, followed by Guadalupe Barragan.
Buenas noches, señor Vicente Sarmiento, concejales y a todo el personal de la ciudad. Me dirijo a ustedes esta noche para insistir a que no se olviden de los comerciantes de la calle 4 de Santana. No podemos negar que su apoyo fue muy valioso, pero no es suficiente para mantener los empleos que generamos con nuestros negocios. Simplemente no vamos a sobrevivir sin su ayuda. Llevamos meses padeciendo los cierres de calles que nos afectan en las ventas. Disminución de ingresos en mi caso de más de 60%, lo que se hace muy difícil a cumplir con nuestros pasivos y gastos operativos. Las personas que antes y a veces van a comprar nos comentan que prefieren ir a otro lado por las dificultades que tienen para acceder a nuestros negocios, además del polvo y el riesgo que implica caminar entre maquinaria o el personal haciendo maniobras. A estas quejas se han unido los repartidores de las plataformas de comida que no encuentran un acceso fácil a mi negocio. Yo tengo una pequeña juguería. En un principio mi apuesta fue levantar la venta por este medio. Ahora se hace más difícil porque los repartidores ya conocen las problemáticas y se niegan a dar el servicio. A este punto que acabo de mencionar es muy importante, señores, ya que el día de hoy los espacios o caminos que están destinados para que la gente pase hacia nuestros negocios también son utilizados por los trabajadores de la obra o bien por su maquinaria, quitando el paso hasta este momento. Tuvimos bloqueado por completo el paso. Estamos pidiendo lo que consideramos justo, señor Mayor Vicente Sarmiento y concejales. Pedimos que por favor nos apoyen y que nos ayuden a que la empresa Octa se haga responsable de las consecuencias de su proyecto. Necesitamos que crean un fondo de interrupción de negocios porque las consecuencias de este proyecto son catastróficas para los negocios. Muchas gracias.
Good evening, Mayor Vicente Sarmiento, members of the City Council, and staff. And I'm here to insist once again not to forget the 4th Street businesses in Santa Ana. We have been suffering. Thank you, first of all, for the support that you have given us. It's been very valuable, but it's not enough. Our businesses will not survive without your help. So with all these long-term projects and this street closures, my business, just my business has experienced about 60% lowering in sales, and I cannot afford to pay for all the expenses, the fixed expenses that are there, and our customers are telling us that they rather go elsewhere because it's very hard to get there, and it's dust everywhere. The workers are there working, so even the food providers they don't find it easy. It's not easy to find us, to have access to our businesses, and it's hard for them to provide that, to serve our businesses. And the people that are there, they're not coming to our business because even the roads or the access ways for people to come to our business, sometimes even the workers are working there or are passing through there. They have their equipment there blocking, and it's been blocking our business, the access to our businesses. And we're only asking for what is fair. Mayor and Mayor Sarmiento and City Council members, we are asking that you hold OCTA responsible for the consequences of their project, and then that they establish a business interruption fund because of the catastrophic effects it's having on our businesses. Thank you.
Tim Rush, followed by Guadalupe Barragan, followed by Alfredo Bolaños, and our last speaker is Juliet Castro.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Just several points I want to make regarding the budget. I would like to see us fund I think there's 8 police positions which have been approved, but they're not funded. And of course, this is one of the things that creates all the police overtime. So I think that needs to be addressed. Additionally, I think there needs to be money set aside so that there is at least one directed patrol within each police quadrant within the city. So that needs to happen. The third thing that needs to be addressed is that we have had for decades now understaffing in our code enforcement department. I was astonished to look tonight when Mintai made his presentation, and they indicate there's 29 full-time positions in code enforcement. Well, I know as sure as hell we don't have 29 code enforcement officers. I'll bet we have, in reality, 8 or 9. Because when you take the folks that are out sick and on vacation and being trained and new and they're really not up to speed yet, we probably have 8 or 9. The city of Anaheim, which is the same size as Santa Ana, has got 28 code enforcement officers. And we have been underfunded in code enforcement for decades. We need to fix that. The other issue I think you need to address, and I was glad to see there's an increase in the library department. Our library department has been underfunded again also for decades. It is abysmal how little that we spend on library services in this city year after year after year, and that's gone on for over 30 years. We just have cut and cut and cut the library department. I think that's unfortunate. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Guadalupe Barragán, followed by Alfredo Bolaños, followed by Juliet Castro.
Buenas tardes nuevamente a todo el personal del concilio. Nuevamente, pues ya todos me conocen, soy Guadalupe Barragán, residente de la bonita ciudad de Santa Ana. Quisiera decirles que yo creo que el presupuesto para los policías debería incluir un mejor entrenamiento para los policías y más para los programas, para nuestros hijos de la comunidad, para brindarles una mejor ayuda como la caseta o la oficina que está en la McFadden, que fuimos. Los policías son muy amables, muy con corazón muy bueno, y hemos hablado con residentes y hablan muy bien, y esa es la calidad de policías que necesitamos para la ayuda de nuestros jovencitos. También creo que como negociantes de la calle 4 Downtown necesitamos enfocarnos en el problema para sobrevivir este proyecto del streetcar. Removiendo el bid por completo ahorita no es ninguna prioridad. Tenemos una emergencia y debemos ocuparnos y poner toda la atención en esto. Creo que tenemos que estar involucrados todos como negociantes. No somos informados con los líderes que están al frente, y creo que como dueños de negocio tenemos que, nos tienen que tomar en consideración y debemos de saber todas las decisiones que se lleven a cabo. También esperamos que puedan seguirnos apoyando como señor Vicente Sarmiento, Jonathan Hernández. Muchísimas gracias por el apoyo que se nos han dado, por todos los fondos que la ciudad ha otorgado para los dueños de negocios. Si no hubiera sido por el 1.5 millones que ustedes nos hubieran dado, la verdad, los negocios no podemos seguir sobreviviendo. Y también quería hacerles una pregunta, a ver si ustedes serían tan amables de decirnos si ya se entregó todo ese 1.5 millones o todavía queda dinero, porque muchas personas dicen que no han recibido el dinero. Sin más por el momento, les doy muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.
Good evening, honorable council members. You know me, I'm back. My name is Guadalupe Barragan, and I'm a resident of the beautiful city of Santa Ana. And I'd like to say about the budget for the police needs to be directed for better training, for more PAL program for the kids, because this is helping our kids, to be helping our kids. And I went to the office. The officers were nice. The office there on McFadden, the substation, and the officers are nice and they have a good heart. And the neighbors speak well of them because they're helping the kids. regarding the 4th Street business, we need to focus on the problem. Removing the PBIT right now is not a priority. We need to focus on what's important. We need to be involved as business people, and we need to be better informed and as to what is happening. And I believe that we as business people should be heard and should be listened to in the decisions that are made. And I hope that you can continue supporting the businesses as you have, Mayor Sarmiento, Councilman Jonathan Hernandez. Thank you for your monetary support for the businesses. I believe that if it were not for the $1.5 million provided, the businesses would not have survived. So I have a question for you. Have those $1.5 million been allocated yet? Because there are some business people that are saying that they have not seen any of the money. For now, that's all for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alfredo Bolaños, followed by Juliet Castro.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Alfredo. Yo tengo un salón de belleza en el Downtown Santana y solo quería agradecerles por la ayuda que nos dieron, pero en realidad sí necesitamos que nos sigan ayudando porque con lo que nos ayudaron creo que no podríamos sobrevivir, ya que pues los clientes bajan. Exactamente, yo también uso mucho Uber y las personas a veces yo tengo que pagar el Uber por no usar su servicio porque a veces no encuentran el lugar donde me tienen que recoger y se van y me lo cobran. Aparte de todo eso tengo que pagar extra y ahorita estoy desesperado porque casi no tengo trabajo. No veo la manera cómo hacerle porque los clientes se quejan, no llegan y solo es lo que quiero decirles, que no se olviden y que necesitamos que nos sigan ayudando. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Alfredo Bolaños, and I have a beauty salon in downtown Santa Ana. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for the help that you have provided, but I'm here to tell you that it's not enough. But without the help, I believe that the businesses would not have survived. Our clients have decreased, and I take a lot of Ubers. Take Uber a lot, and some of my clients come by Uber because they can't find it, and then I have to pay them their Uber sometimes, so I have to pay this extra because they can't find the place or they can't get to the place. So I'm spending more money paying for them to get to my place, and then they don't even get there. I'm desperate. I don't have enough work, and our clients are either going somewhere else or they're complaining that they can't get there. So we need your support. We need your continued help. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet Castro.
Muy buenas noches. Una vez más estoy aquí presente para pedir ayuda sobre mi negocio, que estoy en el segundo piso. Y su ayuda que me dieron, la verdad, fueron $3,000 que no me sirvieron para nada. La señorita Taipan, le pido que esta vez colabore. La vez pasada no aprobó nuestra necesidad. Yo esperaba contar con $10,000. Yo estoy compuesta de puros negociantes latinos. Mi comunidad no va a entrar a otros lugares de los americanos. Yo los respeto y los quiero mucho, pero yo trabajo con puros latinos. Mi comunidad me siguen por mi trabajo. Ese dinero que recibí me sirvió solamente para mes y medio. Tengo 2 empleados. Tengo que pagar todos los días comida, servicio, gasolina. No es suficiente. Protejan mi negocio latino, porque estoy de la comunidad latina en la ciudad de Santa Ana. Está hecho de puros latinos. Y respecto a lo del BID, ese BID no me ha ayudado a mí. Nunca se ha presentado a mi negocio a decirme si necesito una ayuda. Ahorita que mi negocio está casi cerrado todo. Yo estoy en la 4 y la Broadway. A mí se me hace injusto que no se hayan presentado con ni siquiera $100 para decirme, toma para un tanque de gasolina. Por favor, escúchenos a todos de diferentes necesidades. Todos tenemos diferentes tipos de vista. Pero por ahorita estoy por mi negocio para que no se cierre mi negocio. Se han estado vendiendo edificios en la 4. Yo no quiero que mi negocio lo cierren porque es mi único ingreso que yo tengo de mi sudor de mi frente. Muchas gracias.
So that was our last in-person speaker. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to
Mr.
the
Mayor,
clerk.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, I'm
may
sorry.
I-
I'm sorry. Go
Thank you,
ahead
sir.
for the translation.
Good evening. I'm here to ask for your help for the businesses for downtown. My business is on the second floor, and I'm here to ask for help. The help that you gave me was only $3,000. That's not enough. And Ms. Tai Fan, I'm asking you to help us. You did not help. You did not vote to help in the last time. So I'm expecting $10,000 to be helped to help my business. A business of Latinos. This is a Latino business. We serve the Latino community, and I'm sorry to say the white community is not going to come to my business. We're here to serve the Latino community, and my community follows me. I have those $3,000 were only good for about a month and a half of expenses. I have 2 employees. I have to pay for food and services and gas and everything. So I'm here helping and supporting my Latino community. Santa Ana is full of Latino businesses. And regarding the bid, this has not helped me at all. They have never come to help. They never come to my business to ask what I need. My business is on 4th and Broadway. They haven't even come to my place of business and offered, I don't know, $100 for gas or something, anything. So listen to our needs. We all have different needs, and I don't want my business to close. Some buildings in downtown are being sold on 4th Street. I don't want my business to close. That is my only source of income. Thank you.
So now, Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public that wish to address us that are online?
Yes, Mayor and members of the council, did want to also announce before muting callers in the order received, I will report out the following summary of emails provided for item 16. We received 44 Santa Ana resident or organization commented to allocate funding for the police oversight legislation grants for community-based organizations, additional staff to work for the Center for Youth Services, for the youth services programs through the City Hall and not the police department. 6 non-Santa Ana residents commented to allocate funding for the police oversight legislation grants for community-based organizations, additional staff at the Work Center for Youth Services, for the youth services programs throughout City Hall and not the police department. And with that, Zoom ID Araceli Lopez 714, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device to unmute.
Sí, buenas noches.
Sí,
Mi
puede.
nombre es Araceli Robles. ¿Me escucha?
Sí, puede continuar con su comentario.
Sí, gracias. Sí, estoy aquí también para hablar sobre el presupuesto de la ciudad, ¿verdad? He escuchado a todas las personas que están al frente de ustedes en el concilio expresando la necesidad que se tiene de mejorar la economía de nuestra ciudad, de nuestros negocios. Y sé que es una decisión difícil para estos momentos, para ellos, para los miembros del concilio. Pero ahorita con todo lo que ha pasado, nuestros jóvenes necesitan más apoyo en este momento por todo lo de la salud mental. Yo personalmente estoy en una situación muy sensible porque necesito más recursos para mi familia en esa área. Nosotros necesitamos realmente abrir nuestro corazón y nuestra mente porque todos los que han estado enfrente necesitan el dinero, necesitan mejorar las economías. Pero sí también tenemos como que priorizar, ¿verdad? Hay familias que hemos sobrevivido a esta pandemia y no hemos recibido ni $1. Y hay comerciantes que están recibiendo y qué bueno que lo recibieron. Pero también hay que pensar en todos, no solamente en un grupo. Yo les pido, por favor, que tomen en consideración todo lo que tienen que hacer por nuestros jóvenes, por nuestros niños, por nosotros que también tenemos una condición mental y que es muy sensible, el vivir el día a día y estar pagando rentas tan caras que realmente es una grosería lo que nos están cobrando por una vivienda. Yo les pido que por favor tomen una buena decisión en el presupuesto, apoyen todos los programas que sea para los jóvenes porque es una prevención muy grande. Después de lo que ha pasado en nuestro país, en el mundo entero, nuestros niños están muy lastimados emocionalmente. Por favor, escuchen y hagan lo que tienen que hacer. Y pues espero que a todos los que estamos en necesidad les toque un poco de este presupuesto para mejorar nuestras vidas y de nuestra comunidad. Gracias, tengan buenas noches y agradezco su tiempo.
Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Araceli Robles, and I'm here to talk about the city budget. And there's a lot of needs. I know we need to improve a lot in the economy and for the businesses, and it's hard. The decisions you're going to make are going to be very hard. And the youth, I'd like to advocate for the youth. They need a lot of support, especially in mental health. Personally, I have this need. I need a lot of resources in my family with mental health. We need the opportunity. We all need money, of course. We need to improve our economy. We need to have priorities. So there are some families that have not received a single dollar from all this help that has been given out, and many businesses have received it. So I'm asking you to consider our youth. I'm asking you to consider our kids and their mental health. It's going to be hard to live day to day, and with the high rents that are an insult of what we need to pay for housing. So we're asking you to help us, to help with programs for youth, and to provide these programs for prevention for youth. You know what's going on with the kids all over the world. Kids are hurting emotionally, and we need a little bit of help from the budget that the people need. Thank you for listening, and good evening.
Thank you. Zoom ID CEA, if you would please select the microphone icon. Thank you. You may proceed with your comment.
Thank you. Hello, Mayor and City Council members. This is Hilda Ortiz speaking on behalf of Latino Health Access. LHA is proud to have partnered with other community organizations and the City of Santa Ana in recent years to bring much needed services that help level the playing field for low-income families in our city. We've witnessed the great progress that the city has made in its goal of achieving equity, and we urge you to continue by investing in the care and health of our community. I'm happy to see in the staff presentation that $150,000 is being included in today's proposal for grants to community-based organizations. I want to just reiterate the importance of this fund that will allow community organizations to reach residents most impacted and in need of the services. Excuse me. Further, I would ask you to consider funding this program with general fund dollars to ensure sustainability of the services. We at LHA are working with low-income families who are still in the process of recovering from financial setbacks and healing from emotional impacts. Our youth and families are asking for the expansion of direct services and programs that address the myriad of mental health challenges that many still face. We ask that Council approves this program from the general fund and prioritize the funds for smaller organizations with an annual budget of less than $1 million and those that are not currently receiving CDBG funds from the city, so that they're able to provide services that include mental health services for trans, queer, and LGBTQ youth, reentry programs and services for system-impacted youth, and counseling support and preventive services for youth. Please continue to invest in services that will improve the wellness of Santa Ana families. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Zoom ID Chispa 2, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device to unmute your call.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we could hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Mayors of the Council. I'm Jairo Cortez, a resident of Ward 5, and I'm calling in regards to the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget. I think like to echo, some of the comments that have been shared by some of the other speakers, including, maintaining the line item to fund a robust police oversight board in Santa Ana. Including keeping and the funding for the community-based organizations. And so there's the $150,000 that are included in the budget. And really asking to make this allocation out of the general fund instead of revived dollars. It's important that, the city invests and small CBOs like year over year, as opposed to just like one time, the way that, we're anticipating with Revive. Also, I want to echo like the call to continue increasing opportunities for jobs for youth, including allocating increased funding for at least one additional staff person at the city's work center and youth jobs within the city government. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller with the last three numbers, 029, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device. Thank you. You may proceed with your comment.
Hi, this is Michelle Polito, Ward 3. I wanted to call attention to the available $108 billion in grant money on the Federal Transportation Authority website. Doing the math, today's plan only considers 30% of available federal grants based on the plan's current narrowing of grants through the American Rescue Plan. Again, the American Rescue Plan represents $30 billion of the 108 in FTA grants. Santa Ana would benefit from reviewing the feasibility to request a dedicated branch of OCTA, or even better, the feasibility of establishing a separate Santa Ana Transportation Authority for our unique grants based on needs for our community and to lower our city's risk of future project failures, to mitigate likelihood of OCTA-led failures of project management like the OC streetcar, which by definition of the Federal Register is a railway. And then before I yield my time, I wanted to point out that today's positive COVID tests in OC are above 4,000. We may want to document while we have the chance our best practices and successes from COVID-19 so that we can re-implement them in future bio-emergencies. And if there is any grant money for documentation of these best practices, we would benefit from saving them. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Zoom ID, Moses Vasquez, if you would please select the microphone icon on your device. Thank you. You may proceed with your comment.
Hi, my name is Moises Vasquez, and I'm a resident of Santa Ana, and I work with youth at Latino Health Access. And I'm just calling to echo some of the comments previously made, and just encouraging City Council to adopt a budget that includes grants for organizations to work in mental health, in providing mental health services for trans and queer and LGBTQ youth, re-entry programs for and services for system impacted youth, and counseling support and preventative services for youth. This pandemic has been really taking a toll in our youth's mental health, and definitely we need to invest in our youth now more than ever. Also, increase funding for youth service programs that can provide Santa Ana youth with access to skill development, recreation, and housing, and to work in partnership with the Santa Ana Work Center to offer certification and training programs to train youth up to 25 years of age and provide opportunities to learn coding, receive job skill training, and access to leadership development. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. That was the last caller.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And thank you to members of the public that addressed us, and staff for the presentation as well. It's, it's 8:30 and we've gotten the presentation. I think we, heard from members of the public. I think what's unfortunate is that, this budget discussion coincided with people going to the polls and voting after work. So we may not have heard everybody that wished to address us on this. But I also think that deliberating the budget with 6 out of the 7 members instead of having all 7 members of the council is probably not the best thing to do. I think we want to have all 7 voices represented here to go ahead and comment and opine on the budget. I know that, technically under Section 605 of the Charter, we have till July 31st to adopt a budget. I think you've complied, Madam City Manager, by presenting a budget to the council by before June 15th. So I would consider and request that we put the matter over to the 21st, if that makes sense, and then we can take it up then with all 7 of us here, and that way we can have a more robust discussion, especially on some of the comments and some of the new things that were presented in the budget.
Mayor, if I may ask, I like what he's talking about, or what she's talking about. If we were to do the 21st for the discussion and potential adoption of the first reading, as far as for a second read, I know we have until later in July, but would we want to try to maybe possibly do the second read for, because I like the idea of us actually getting this done before the beginning of the fiscal year. So is there a way that maybe we would entertain a special meeting for the second read if we were to successfully get through the first read?
I think we could do either, right? I think the charter will allow us to either put it over to the 21st or maybe a date before or after the 21st to get there before the 30th of the month.
Your challenge is you would need to have a date specific tonight to carry it over to.
But I think if I'm not mistaken, if Mayor Pro Tem was saying we put this over to the 21st, we could put it over to a date certain before the end of the fiscal year.
I believe he's saying you could have a second reading after the 21st, but before July 1st.
Well, and I know I'll ask our city attorney, but we would also have to are we adopting? Oh no, we're adopting it by resolution, so we wouldn't have to worry. Okay. Oh, it is ordinance. Okay. So we would have to have how many days between the 2 readings?
At least 5 days.
5 days, okay.
Okay.
I'm okay, Mayor Sarmiento, with what you proposed.
So I'll move that we put this matter over to the 21st, meeting on the 21st for first reading. So the public hearing will be kept open for that, and we'll just go ahead and, that'll be my motion. Is there a?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments?
If I can make a comment, sir.
Sure, please.
So Kat and I will make ourselves available. If you guys have any questions between now and the 21st, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, because the only thing that really is left then for the public hearing is your deliberations.
Perfect. That said,
Mayor, if I may ask, so are we closing the public comment portion of the?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I'd like to leave it open if we can, just because, again, I'm not sure if anybody who went to the polls wasn't able to come here. But look, I'll indulge the council either way. Is there a preference either way from the council?
I have a question, and
Go
then
ahead.
I'll comment. So, should I expect to get a full, thorough budget summary after the 21st? I don't want to make it harder on staff. I just want to know what.
We can certainly try our best, but the deadline for the staff reports for the June 21st is today.
Okay, then I know not to expect that. I'll still refer to the May 17th one.
Thank you.
And then I would actually like to leave the public comment open for people to provide comment on the budget until we meet on the 21st.
And the only thing I might add is that you might add to that, though, however, that we don't allow additional public comment. So if someone spoke at the public hearing today, we might allow folks who did not have an opportunity to speak today, but people who spoke at the hearing today, you would close the hearing as to those people.
Are you good with that? I'm good with that. Yes, council member.
Thanks. I am not supportive of pushing this to the 21st. When we set the calendar for the city council meetings, we specifically canceled the first meeting in July to reflect the 4th of July holiday, with the understanding that we would approve the budget on time. And I think that a lot of people gave public comments today. Staff provided a presentation, and I'd like for us to deliberate and have comments. If we have additional meetings in between, I think that's fine to add additional comments, to have more whatever it is that we want, but to push it to the 21st just seems like a very, you're really cutting it close to the deadline. There's always changes, and I'd like for us to make some of our comments public now to each other, and so that if there are any changes, we make it happen by the 21st.
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. My question for the city attorney, can we continue this meeting just for a date specific sometime next week?
You can adjourn this item, you can adjourn an item to a date specific and continue the public hearing.
If I may add, Mayor and council members, because you're not aware of this, as the city manager had noted, today is the last day for all the staff reports to be submitted for the June 21st meeting. And I will tell you, staff already submitted 56 items on that June 21st agenda. Just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Well, I mean, that's why continuing this meeting or the public hearing to a date specific next week, it wouldn't really mean that staff has to submit new staff reports or anything, so there wouldn't be any time constraints on that, right?
Correct, and then the second reading could be scheduled, because the second reading is easy to put on to that next meeting. It involves a very minor staff report, that could be done at the second meeting.
So Councilmember Penaloza, you're correct. If you can agree tonight on a date certain, you could do that approach.
Okay, so I'm available all of next week. I'll leave it up to my colleagues to decide on a date, but I will make a motion to adjourn, continuing to a meeting, a continuing of the public hearing sometime next week.
It's a sub-motion, right? 'Cause we
Yeah,
have
it would be a
motion on the
sub-motion.
floor.
I'll second, but just real quick question. So as far as Councilmember Mendoza, because the concern was to have all 7 of us on the dais to deliberate, do we know when Councilmember Mendoza will return?
I do not, and I cannot get a hold of her tonight. I've been trying.
Well, she should be here by the 21st, right? I mean, we know that's another regular.
We assume.
I do not, yeah, I cannot guarantee that because I don't know for sure.
Just
Go ahead.
because you did ask, Councilmember Penaloza, the only day I have available next week is Wednesday. And everybody knew June 7th was the first budget hearing. We had multiple meetings in between. It is not our fault that someone decided to go on vacation and be completely MIA during an important budget meeting. And it is not our fault that we did not change, or it's our fault that we did not change the date of the first hearing when we had the opportunity to. So again, I would like to move forward with this so that if there are any changes, which there inevitably are, that we can set a special meeting if we want, or continue or whatever, but we haven't even had the opportunity to deliberate. And with that, I will be voting no on both items. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may
Mayor Pro
ask, Madam City Attorney, or maybe Madam City Manager, anytime. So my question was, if we were to continue to a date certain, and let's just say, for assumption, let's assume that Councilmember Mendoza wasn't available on that date certain, what would be the procedure to punt that out to another subsequent date? So let's say if we did it on Wednesday, and for whatever reason Councilmember Mendoza was not available, how would we be able to push that out to another date?
So my belief, but I certainly would defer to your city attorney and city clerk, you would have to open up that public hearing and then continue it again.
Okay.
I'm available next Wednesday.
As am I. I think
4 o'clock.
everybody is as well. Not sure, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I think we are. We're just, the only concern was to make sure Councilmember Mendoza was available as well.
And for clarification, what day is that? Wednesday?
The 15th.
That's a Wednesday, the 15th.
Okay, perfect.
So, Councilmember Penaloza, was that your motion?
Yes,
Okay, and I'll still second that.
I think.
Great, we have a substitute motion and a second for continuing this meeting to the 15th, which is next Wednesday. Are you clear on the motion?
Yes. Do you have a time specific?
I mean,
5:45.
let's
Shall we do 5?
let's do 5.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Council members, please vote.
Can I get a clarification, Madam City Clerk, on this motion?
So my understanding is for the council to adjourn the remainder of the items on this agenda to the 15th, Wednesday, at 5 p.m.
Thank you.
Clarification, city clerk, so the only item is the public hearing.
We also have a housing authority
Yeah,
item.
we can get through that, so let's,
Oh, okay, wonderful. So it's just for that item.
And for clarification, those who have already commented cannot comment on the 15th.
Correct.
All right, so good luck with that, Madam City Clerk.
Okay. Okay, so motion passes with Council Members Hernandez, Lopez, Peñalosa, Mayor Pro Tem Becerra, Mayor Sarmiento voting yes, Council Member Fan dissenting, and Council Member Mendoza absent.
great, thank you, everybody. Let's recess the city council meeting and convene the housing authority meeting. And I'll go ahead and call the housing authority meeting to order. And Madam Clerk, if you'll please call roll.
Thank you. Authority Member Hernandez.
Present.
Authority Member Lopez. Here. Authority Member Mendoza. Authority Member Peñalosa.
Present.
Authority Member Fan.
Here.
Vice Chair Becerra.
Here.
And Chair Sarmiento.
Here. Madam Clerk, are there any members of the public that wish to address the housing authority?
No, and we did not receive any written communication.
Great. Any members of the authority wish to move the item?
I'll make a motion to move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Council members, please vote.
And I just, for the record, want to announce again, for clarity, that Council Member, or Authority Member Mendoza is absent, so that's one of the excused absences listed.
Sorry, Mayor, just for clarification, this is the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I might be on
For
the
the
wrong.
Housing Authority.
This is for item 1 and 2
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
housing authority.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Okay, motion passes with Council Members Hernandez, Lopez, Peñalosa, Fan, Mayor Pro Tem Becerra, and Mayor Sarmiento voting yes, and Council Member Mendoza absent.
Great, thank you, everybody. Let me go ahead and adjourn the housing authority meeting and reconvene the city council meeting. And I don't see any council requested items, and I'll go ahead and call on the city manager.
Passer?
Great, thank you. Going to the council, Councilmember Hernandez.
Just want to thank my neighbors for participating recently in the Santiago Little League closing ceremony. We had a lot of amazing people come out, and there was hundreds of kids, and trophies were given out. There was good food and a lot of happy faces. So just wanted to wish them well during the summer and congratulate them on a successful season. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any comments. I just want to thank everyone that participated in the local elections. I think it's important that regardless of, I just think it's important for people to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Mendoza is not present. Councilmember Fan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to remind everyone that part of our consent calendar item was to approve going to a level 2 water conservation plan. As many of you will know, there is not just a drought, but extreme drought. Some people call it a mega drought. The point is, there's not enough imported water. And so just be aware there will be more information presented to you. You should be getting more information on how to conserve water and what the limitations are here in the city. We're all trying to do our part to, work as a team to work on this and to really get through this process. Finally, I know that I have a lot of people who've been asking me about the green bins regarding the trash carts, and how to deal with that. You should have gotten a mailer at your house, at your address, on how to throw away food and whatnot into the green trash can. But just look out for additional information and events to really help you transition starting July 1st. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Peñalosa.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to wish all the dads out there a very happy Father's Day. Very bittersweet for me. My father passed when I was 3 years old, so never got to experience that. So happy Father's Day to everybody out there and good night.
Thank you for those comments. Mayor Pro Tem Becerra.
Thank you. Just wanted to let everybody know that our park host is now in Thornton Park, so please stop by and visit Katie. I had the chance to meet her at our monthly community office hours that I hold monthly just this past Saturday, and it's just great to have those the eyes and ears on the park at all times. And so anyways, lovely, lovely person. Please stop by, introduce yourself. And with that, thank you for everybody that voted today, and have a good night.
Great, thank you for those comments, and I'll just go ahead and say good night to everybody. We'll be reconvening at the next meeting. Thank you. Have a good night.
Recording stopped.